Welcome to Making Transportation Plans, Rationality and Politics. I'd like to give a short introduction to this course. My name is Rick Wilson. I'm a professor of urban and regional planning at Cal Poly Pomona, where I teach transportation planning. I also have a transportation consulting practice, and I do research on parking reform, transit-oriented development, travel demand management, and transportation planning processes. And I'm pleased to teach this course because the process we use for transportation planning we often take for granted. So what we're going to do today is explore different models of planning that we can apply in transportation. The tradition in transportation planning is rational comprehensive planning. We assume that decision makers are rational and will select the best alternative from among a series of choices. We assume that travelers are rational and will choose the travel mode that has the lowest overall cost. We take a long-term approach, thinking far into the future, and a comprehensive approach, thinking about relationships with land use, housing policy, sustainability, and so on. And the traditions in our field is the purpose of planning was to help guide decisions about capital investments. Capital investments meaning building a highway, widening a road, building a transit system, building a bike lane. And the question we face is whether this model is still appropriate in the contemporary environment of transportation planning. In the course, we will look at the evolution of the transportation planning process, and we'll examine rational comprehensive planning using the case of the Regional Transportation Plan, a plan prepared by metropolitan planning organizations. Then we'll address alternatives to that model, such as strategic planning, policy analysis, advocacy planning, and communicative action planning. And we'll conclude the course by examining how we can use these models or combine them to fit the particular context for a transportation planning problem. So why this course? Rational comprehensive planning has its flaws, but if it is not to be used, the question is what other planning process model works? So we're seeing changes in the transportation system with shared mobility, possibly autonomous vehicles coming, greater attention to active transportation. We see changes in planning process and society more generally, where transportation planning is more including participation, considering environmental justice, and taking a travel management focus. So our challenge is to figure out how transportation planning process can respond to the context we face today. So let's get started.